What's going on, everyone? Axel here with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild now released for both the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. It's safe to say that the Nintendo Wii U is not going to be getting any more official Nintendo games. It might get a few third-party releases or indie games, but it's pretty safe to say that the console, for the most part, is now dead. So what I want to do in this video is look back at the Wii U, a console I really like, and kind of go over its life, what it did right, what it did wrong, and why it ended up being a failure. So let's go ahead and get started with the system's concept, because you look at the main thing that went wrong with the Wii U is the gamepad just never really worked out. And it seems so easy in 2013, 2014 to kind of look at it and be like, what was Nintendo thinking with this thing? But I actually think that in concept, the Wii U gamepad was a good idea at the time. Back when the Wii U came out in 2012, so when this thing was being developed back in 2009, 2010, 2011, things like the iPad tablets were really big, and there was good reason for Nintendo to think that this kind of concept could work, because tablets were becoming very successful, and it was a pretty good idea to think that, hey, let's make a tablet an integral part of our video game system. Let's take hold of this new technology, this new fad, and see if we can work it in with our console. There's a lot of possibilities that the Wii U had with its second screen, a lot of different ways to play games. So it really was not a bad idea in concept, I don't think. It's just a lot of things fell apart for Nintendo, and I think that the idea itself of the gamepad was not really what sunk Nintendo. It was, in this generation, it was a lot of other things. And I'm going to get to those things one by one. Let's start at first with the price. Now, this is one problem you can relate to the gamepad here, which, yeah. Okay, this thing is actually really expensive to produce. It's something like $100 to produce this. So even though at the time the Wii U was using really outdated specs, say specs that probably were more comparable to like the PS3. Now the Wii U is more powerful than the PS3, but it's definitely not nearly as powerful as like the PS4 or Xbox One. But even so, even having a console with kind of outdated specs, they still had to charge $300, $350 just because this thing costs so much money to produce. And that was really the problem, is that the Wii U was this console that wasn't capable really of playing the high-end games of the day, yet it cost just as much, if not more, than comparable systems. So why would you buy a Wii U over those systems? You know, I'm talking Xbox 360, PS3, and the newer ones as well. You could get the same kind of specs for cheaper, or you could get, you know, the new generation experience for about the same price. Now at launch, the Wii U was a little bit cheaper because I believe the PS4 released at about $400, the Xbox One released about $500, but it didn't take too long for those prices to start dropping. And then you look at today you can get Xbox Ones, especially Xbox Ones, but also PS4s for extremely cheap. I got my Xbox One for like, well, granted I got it refurbished, but it was like $170, and you can get deals on new Xbox Ones for like $200. Really cheap deals these days. So that's the problem, the price. And the thing about the Wii U that's weird is the Wii U, despite it being so old, is still $300. Like if you want to go buy a new Wii U today, and it's still $300, which is weird, but at the same time I get why. Nintendo just doesn't really care at this point. I think that's the main reason. But mainly the price of the Wii U was a huge problem for it. It just could not sell. It was too expensive for what it offered you. Other than that, now what I think the biggest problem with the Wii U, more so than its price, more so than its concept, more so than its specs, was the marketing and its name. The marketing on this thing was horrible. I actually remember when I bought mine, and I bought mine in spring 2013, which was a little while after launch. It launched in fall 2012, and at that time I wasn't near as much into video games as I am now, but I was still a really active PC gamer, and I didn't know what the Wii U was. In fact, the only reason I ended up buying a Wii U was because I actually wanted to. Originally, I wanted to get just an original Wii, just to screw around with it, just to play Wii Sports and play a couple other games. Like I wanted to play Donkey Kong Country Returns and Mario Galaxy, a couple games like that. That's really all I wanted to do with it. So I went down to my local game store and I bought a used Wii, original Wii. And luckily for me, the Wii I got had some problems. It had it was running way too loud. Like something was wrong with it. It was running so loud, so I had to return it and exchange it, and I did that. And the second Wii I got had not a problem with the fan, but someone had hacked it, and I just didn't want to deal with the hack stuff on it, so I went and returned it as well. And I was kind of disappointed at that point at the store, so for getting two Wiis I didn't like, so I didn't get a third exchange. So I went on the internet to buy one on the internet instead, and as I was researching, I found the Wii U. Just searching for Wii, and I had no idea that the console was out. I didn't even know about it, which goes to tell you how bad the marketing was in this thing. Because I was a pretty avid gamer at the time, not near as avid as I am now, but I was a pretty knowledgeable gamer, definitely more knowledgeable than your average consumer, and I didn't even know what the Wii U was. And luckily, when I was researching, I found out what the Wii U was, and I saw that it was backwards compatible. So I said, "What the hell? I'll buy this Wii U instead." And I'm glad I did, because I loved the Wii U. I had tons of good times with it, with all kinds of games, which I'll also go over some games later. So the marketing was a big issue. They, for whatever reason, before launch, just didn't market the thing to the core audience that was going to buy it. They wanted to market the thing, it seemed like, towards little kids, and little kids don't have money. And it's 2000, it's 2012 back then, it's 2017 now, but we're to the point where video games are much more of an adult thing than a kid thing. The primary target market for video games now is like 18 to 35, and Nintendo just kind of ignored that market. Also, the name was horrible. Wii U, it's a terrible, terrible name. You hear Wii U and you don't even know what that means. I think the console would have been much more successful if they would have just called the thing the Wii 2 instead of the Wii U, just because that type of name actually articulates what a console is to the consumer. When someone hears, take the PS4 for example. The PS4 came out, no one was confused about what it was, because the PS4 has the number 4 in it. Obviously, people see that and go, "Oh, it's the fourth one. It must be the better version, the new version, because it's not 3 anymore. It's 4." There's a reason why Sony continuously calls their consoles 1, 2, 3, 4 and keeps that in a numerical order, because it's a marketing thing. It lets consumers know what the product is. Now, let's assume they would have come out with the PS4, but instead of calling it the PS4, they called it the PS3U, something like that, or the PlayStation U. Say they just called it the PlayStation U. Consumers would have been totally confused, and that's exactly what happened with the Wii U. People wouldn't have known. Is the PSU? Is that a new console? Is that an add-on? Is it an upgraded version of the PS3? Is it like a different version of the PS3? Is it like a portable version? What's going on? No one would have known that that's their new generation system, and that's what happened with Wii U. No one knew what the thing was. A lot of people still to this day think it's an add-on. I swear to God. Even as late as last year, I was in a GameStop, and I happened to be just looking through the bargain bin. That's the only thing I'll buy from GameStop normally. But I was looking through the bargain bin and out near the Wii U section, and this guy and his kid were in the guy was maybe like 35 years old, and he had a kid that was maybe like 6 or 7, who was there looking through the Wii stuff, and he started talking to one of the managers, and he's like, "Okay, Wii U," and he goes, "Oh, what's that?" He didn't know what the Wii U was, and it's crazy that the thing had been out like 4 years and he still didn't know what it was. I mean, if the average consumer who walks into GameStop doesn't know what your console is, then that's just a plain hard marketing failure. Like, everyone who walks into GameStop, who walks into any kind of video game store, modern video game store at least, should know what the major consoles are. I mean, to not know that the Wii U is Nintendo's current console that's been out for 3-4 years, well, at the time it was been out, I guess, like 4 years, that's a problem. So yeah, that the name was just horrible, and to this day, I think that's the #1 reason the Wii U failed. Enough about that. Next, another big problem was the games and the lack of games, and also the lack of third-party support. One thing that the console showed us, and this is one thing that Adam Korlick, one of my favorite YouTubers, has said, is that he said this recently, is that the one thing the Wii U showed everyone is that Nintendo's first-party titles are not enough to carry the system, and that's totally true. The system really suffered from a lack of third-party support. It didn't get a lot of games like it should have. Now, it did get some at the beginning, stuff like Call of Duty, stuff like Mass Effect, like NBA 2K, I think FIFA, a few other games like that. It did get at launch, but it quickly dried up. And it was pretty obvious that Nintendo wasn't ready for that, because in the coming years, there were some huge gaps in releases. So, and the thing with the third-party support is the third parties didn't want to support the console unless it was successful, but at the same time, the console wasn't going to be successful without their support. And unfortunately, they really gave up on the Wii U really quickly. I'm not sure how much it would have turned the thing around, honestly, because it was kind of having a lackluster time even with the third parties there. So, and like I said, I think the marketing was the biggest reason again. So, yeah, that was a big problem. Probably the final problem with the console was its specs, which kind of goes in hand in hand with the third-party support stuff. A lot of third-party games just couldn't run on the Wii U, or it was not cost efficient to put them on the Wii U just because of how outdated the specs were. Now, that said, the Wii U could have gotten a lot more third-party support, at least in 2012 and 13 and maybe 14, because at that time, the PS3 and Xbox 360 were still getting games, so it wouldn't have been a big issue to just port, say, the 360 version of a game to the Wii U, because as far as I know, the 360 and the Wii U have a really similar architecture, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. And the Wii U did get some ports from those systems from the Xbox 360, so it wouldn't have been a big issue. But as soon as the 360 and the PS3 were kind of put out to pasture, it was then just way too late for the Wii U to get any of the big third-party titles, because they just weren't going to take the time to basically shrink and modify those games down to actually run on the Wii U. So that's enough for the negatives. So I want to go now to the positives, now that I've kind of ranted about how, not really ranted, I guess, but now that I've talked about the problems that the Wii U's had. The thing about the Wii U, though, is I actually love it. It's one of my favorite video game consoles I've ever had, and I think if you talk to any kind of, like, I'm not saying I'm one of them, but if you talk to any of the like really well-known YouTubers or really well-known console lovers or console collectors, I think the consensus is that the Wii U is actually a really good console, because it does well at what you want a console to do well at, and that's have great games. The Wii U had great games, and when it comes down to it, that's really all that matters on a console, is that it has great games. And the Wii U definitely did. There were a lot of amazing games on the Wii U that a lot of people didn't have or didn't experience, because the Wii U only sold something like 13 million units. And it's why you're seeing a lot of games now being ported from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, because the developers don't want to kind of waste all the time that they spent on those games, and most people didn't play them anyway, so they kind of get a lot out of a port, I guess is what I'm saying. So I guess I want to go through just a few of the games that I really liked. I guess probably one of my favorite games, actually, you know what, the first game I want to talk about is this game, and it's called Zombie U, which this game is actually awesome. And if anyone I know who gets a Wii U, like this is the very first game I recommend, because this is one of the few games that was built specifically for the Wii U, and it was built specifically to utilize the Wii U gamepad. And it's a game that kind of shows you what the Wii U could have done and could have been. And I thought going into the Wii U that I was going to get a lot more games like this. And really, this game, no, I actually got this game with my system. I got the Zombie U bundle with my Wii U. So this came with my Wii U, and I'm glad it did, because this is a badass game. Awesome survival horror game. You know, it's not perfect, has some flaws, but it uses the gamepad really well. Like, you use the gamepad to put in passcodes, to pick locks, to, like, you look through it on your TV screen, to, like, use as a sniper rifle. You use it to punch in, like, key codes. Use it to, like, for your inventory. Like, use it as part of your backpack. Like, there's a lot of really cool uses for it. It's actually one of the very few games on the Wii U that actually uses the gamepad as an integral, important core part of the experience. Not like most, like 90% of the games on the Wii U that use the Wii U gamepad, where it's just kind of used as a gimmick, like Mario Kart 8 when you just touch the screen to beep your horn or whatever. Or maybe a lot of games might just use the second screen kind of to show your status screen or your inventory. But this game actually used the gamepad like it should have been, you know, like it should have been used. So, you know, if you have a Wii U, get this game for sure. This game's only like $10 now. It's one of the few Wii U games that's actually extremely cheap. A lot of the Wii U games are going to be hell of expensive in a few years, because they just didn't sell that many copies. So, next game, probably one of my other most favorite games is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I think I liked Donkey Kong Returns on the Wii better, but this is still a great top quality Donkey Kong game. I'm a huge fan of the series. It's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise. So, you know, I love this game. Graphics look great. Great level design as always. Just an excellent platformer. Probably my most played game on the Wii U is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and you know, I got really into playing this competitively for a while. And you know, it's a game that just it's the perfect fighting game. And rumors are this is going to come out for the Nintendo Switch. So if you didn't get it for the Wii U and you have a Switch, absolutely get it. It has a ridiculous number of characters, like 56 characters, something like that. It's pretty well balanced for a game, way better balanced than Smash Brothers Brawl. It's a game that's both easy to pick up and play with friends, but at the same time, this game has an ocean of depth. Like, you can spend years and years and years trying to master this game and never totally master it. So it's, you know, great game. Now, Mario Kart 8, I like this game, and this is actually one of the huge successes on the Wii U, and this is one of the games I thought might revive the Wii U, and Nintendo tried really hard to revive the Wii U with this game, because remember when this came out, they actually gave, for anyone that bought Mario Kart 8, you got a free game. With a free digital copy of the game, they give you a choice of like 3 different games. One of them was like kind of crappy. I think one was Wii Party U, but the other 2 were, I believe, Pikmin 3 and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. I went with the Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker HD because I hadn't played it before and I didn't have it yet. So, but yeah, they really tried to revive the Wii U with this game. It didn't really work, but this game actually really helped sales of the Wii U for a while, like for a stretch. This game really helped the Wii U sales, and a ridiculously high percentage of people who bought a Wii U also have this game. And I like this one, but it wasn't my favorite. The Super Nintendo Mario Kart is definitely my favorite. This one's a little bit too, I guess. It's a little bit too, I don't want to sound like an elitist, but it's a little too casual for me. Just because there's too many items for my taste. It's too much luck, but it's still one of those really fun games that if you've had a bad day at work, or just a really stressful day, you can just sit down and go online and play a few races, and it'll make you feel better. Now this isn't a Wii U exclusive, but I really like this game on the Wii U. I think this is the best version of Deus Ex Human Revolution, which is a really big AAA title. One of the games that actually, fortunately, got ported on the Wii U, and it actually uses the Wii U gamepad pretty well. You can use it for like mini games. Other than Zombie U, this probably uses the Wii U gamepad the best of any Wii U game in the entire library, because it does use it for stuff like hacking, computer systems, use it for your inventory, use it for an augmentation system, of course your maps and stuff. It actually uses it really well. So yeah, if you haven't played this game, which is it's an amazing game to play on any console, and this is on every single console, PS3, 360, and Wii U. It's on all the and it's on is it on the, I don't know if it's on PS4 or Xbox One. I know it's backwards compatible on Xbox One, but I'm not sure if it got an actual Xbox One PS4 release. But regardless, I'm getting off topic. It's just an awesome art. It's like a action RPG. If you like Skyrim, a game like Skyrim, you'll like this. This is basically like Skyrim with guns, kind of. Now, it's not as exploring heavy as Skyrim. It's not as big as Skyrim, but it's got a similar type of leveling system and a similar type of kind of like open world environment. So it's awesome action RPG. I really like this game. Now, I actually played Call of Duty Black Ops 2 a lot on the Wii U, just because I like the Wii U Pro controller a lot, and it's my favorite controller ever to play shooters on. That's kind of why I played on this. Plus, I didn't have an Xbox One at the time, so I got this shooter for this. And this kind of uses the gamepad all right, kind of with maps and stuff, but I just thought it was fun to play on the Wii U just because of the Wii U Pro controller. But it's also kind of sad because this is one of the games I bought early on thinking that the Wii U was going to do well. When I originally bought this game, I think it was like probably spring or summer 2013, and I thought the Wii U was going to do well, and I played this a lot, but unfortunately I couldn't ever play a lot of the modes just because the player population wasn't there to support it. But fortunately, the good thing about this game is that it's on the Wii U, so multiplayer is free. So, if I'm not if I don't want to pay for a Xbox Live Gold subscription or whatever to play, a shooter, I can always go and play this online. There's still enough players, at least, to play deathmatch mode. So, other than that, I guess the last game I want to mention is Scribblenauts, which actually was another game that I would probably suggest you get if you want a game that actually seriously utilizes the gamepad. It's kind of cool in concept. You can kind of draw objects on the gamepad with the stylus pen, and they'll create themselves in game. Like if you need say you need to use like a hammer or something in game, you can draw a hammer on the gamepad and it will pop out, and your character can use it in the game. So it's a pretty cool concept. Although I haven't played it a lot, I've just played it some. But it's as you can see by the title, it's pretty much a kid's game, which is why I'm not really that into it. But it's still a fun, relaxing experience, and I know a lot of people really like this game. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be about it for the Wii U. Just a story of a console that had a lot of promise, I think, but unfortunately Nintendo just made some huge mistakes that kind of blundered the thing. So I'm really hoping they do better with the Switch. I'm not expecting the Wii U to really much to happen with it this next year. I hope that there's some cool indie games released for it, at least, that are worth picking up. I still haven't picked up Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I'm not sure if I will or not, because I'm kind of up in the air on whether I'll get a Switch. But one thing I will say about the Wii U, though, is that if you are interested in getting a Wii U and getting the games for it, it's probably the best time ever to get a Wii U, because the Switch is out now. People are trying to get rid of it. You can probably get a good deal on a used one if you look. I know new, they're still going for $300, but the one thing you should do if you're interested in the Wii U is at least buy the games, because I'm telling you, the games are going to get so expensive. I can't imagine, because a lot of the Wii U games didn't sell well, so Nintendo didn't make a lot of them, and a lot of the games still are really expensive, and a lot of these games are just going to shoot up. They're going to continue to go up in value over the years. I can't imagine how expensive something like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U is going to be in like 5, 6, 7 years. It's probably going to be well over $60 for a used copy, I would imagine. So and other games on the Wii U that just like maybe something like Xenoblade Chronicles X, games like that just they didn't make that many of them. Those type of games are just they're going to be really expensive in a few years. Like the Wii U is going to be a really popular collector's console. I think looking back, 5-10 years from now, it's going to be more, at least more respected than it was right now. It's going to be probably, a lot of people compare it to the Dreamcast. I think it's going to be the new Dreamcast. But it's a cool console, and I'm still going to keep my Wii U out, definitely, for the time being. There's still a few games I haven't gotten around to playing. Like, I haven't gotten around to playing Super Mario 3D World yet, even though I own it, and I haven't gotten around to play Bayonetta 2. And then, of course, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I'll probably get at some point, although it could be on the Switch, because I'll probably eventually get a Switch. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to leave your comments below and let me know what you thought about the Wii U, if you had one, if you do, did you enjoy it? Are you thinking about getting one if you don't have one now? Yeah, anything you want to comment below, and I'd really be interested in reading it. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. And if you have any ideas for me, things you want me to make videos on, please comment below and let me know about that, because I'm always looking for new ideas. Yep, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Again, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.